Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be sharing 10 mistakes that I commonly see in personal statements. So hopefully you can read your own personal statement and critique it with some of these tips and improve. So I have read a lot of personal statements in my day. Just for some context, I am a first-year dental student, soon to be second-year dental student this coming May. I have most of my experience reading dental school personal statements, but pretty much all of these tips are applicable to any professional school. I've also read some PA personal statements and med school as well. This is the second video that I've made on my channel about personal statements, so I will link the first one below. It's a little cringe for me because the production quality from a couple years ago is not what I would like to be putting out now, but I think it's still really great information. And I also have a podcast that I will link below talking about the dental school application. So without further ado, let's get into those 10 mistakes that I've seen in personal statements. I tried to organize this list from easiest to notice to maybe it's gonna take more time and effort to fix. So first thing would be having a basic or boring first few sentences and having no conclusion statement. Examples of boring or basic personal statement intros, in my opinion, would be starting with a quote or starting with an experience that you had at the orthodontist, or talking about a time that you made someone smile or someone made you smile. I think those are all kind of overdone and cliche, so I would avoid that. And then conclusion statement is very simple, but sometimes people forget that and they just kind of end things wrapping up their last paragraph, but they don't tie it in to the theme of their whole personal statement. The next mistake I see is people restating things that were already thoroughly discussed on their application. So in the experience descriptions, you have a chance to describe what you did at each of your extracurriculars or whatever you may be putting in there. So if you've already explained it enough, don't go into detail and waste characters explaining what it is, giving background info, because they already know that if they're reading your personal statement. What you do want to do regarding extracurriculars or experiences that you have, you want to include ones that help further prove who you are as a person, why you want to be, in this case, a dentist, why dentistry is the right career for you, what traits do you have that exemplify what you believe to be a good dentist, what will make you a good dental student. And then you want to find experiences and stories that show that to the readers. So of course, if you had this amazing experience that led you to the career or really taught you something about a strong value that you now hold, of course you want to mention that in your personal statement. But you might not need to explain what the volunteering event is and about how many patients people see and stuff like that. That can go in your experience description on your application. You don't need to waste characters giving that kind of background info in the personal statement. You can mention the name of the event or whatever it may be, and then get into that specific patient interaction that you saw that really taught you something, really resonated with you. Or even better, this is gonna come into a next tip, you wanna talk about something that you personally did that shows who you are as a person. Not so much about what someone else did that you observed, if that makes sense. You wanna talk about you already living out these values, starting to discover them within yourself, starting to discover these passions within yourself. Which leads very well into mistake number 3, and that is talking too much about other people. So you really don't want to say, a dentist has these qualities, a great dentist does this great dentist that I shadowed treated patients in this way. It's not necessary to do that. You don't need to give a story about a time that the dentist was a good leader. What you want to do is go into why you are a good leader. I hope that makes sense. And also, you don't even need to lead in with like, a great dentist will be a good leader. You can just go right into talking about leadership because they know that the theme and question and prompt of this personal statement is why dentistry, why will you be a good dentist? So you really don't even need to use the characters that are so limited in a personal statement saying Dr. blah 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 did this, a dentist does this. Just go right into talking about what it is and how you exemplify it. And mistake number 4 is not mentioning yourself enough and not mentioning or describing who you are as a person and how you will contribute to dentistry. What kind of dentist will you be? Are you someone that's going to be very involved in your community? Are you someone that's going to transform people's lives by giving them the aesthetics that they want in their smile, to be a more functioning person, have better occlusion, be able to eat more comfortably, be able to talk better? or make themselves more confident? Or are you the dentist that's going to be really involved in legislation and sticking up for dentists against insurance companies? Are you someone that's going to be really involved in organized dentistry, your ADA, your local dental chapters, different organizations like Academy of General Dentistry? These are all things you can think about and really come up with a vision. Are you going to be like a small mom and pop practice? Do you want to be something more luxurious, more upscale? Do you want to be part of a big group practice that gives the same dental experience no matter what city you're in, and you want to be the one to start that? There's so many different things, so you really want to think about all this before you write your personal statement, because that will really help you know what your vision is. That way you can convey that to them and show them what values you hold most true and what you know you can bring to the profession as a dentist. All right, mistake number 5 is only talking about dental experiences or clinical experiences, whatever your personal statement is about, and not talking again enough about yourself, what you learned from those experiences and how you're going to carry it into your work as a dentist one day. So you don't want to spend majority of the paragraph describing this clinical experience. You want to spend a sentence or two and then the rest of the experience exemplifying yourself, ways that you've lived out what you learned in that experience, different things that you started to become involved in or hope to become involved in, issues in dentistry that you want to solve, different organizations that you got involved in that were inspired by that clinical experience. And that will show them again what kind of things that you value as a person. So one thing you're probably really gathering from this, a big overall tip, focus on you, not them and not it, whatever that experience was. This is your personal statement, and this is the only thing that schools will know about you other than a list of activities and some statistics about your academics. Mistake number 6 is wanting others to write it for you or even letting them. And by letting them, I just mean letting people manipulate it way too much. Asking people, well, what should I write about? What do you think are my strengths? It's good to do some reflection, but at the end of the day, it's really going to be a better piece of writing if you come up with it yourself, because no one knows truly what's in your heart. No one truly knows what your interest in dentistry is other than yourself. You know the truest version of yourself, so you should be the main person coming up with the content for this essay. Number 7 is a mistake that I have seen so many times, and even in my first version, I did this too much. And that's talking too much, spending too much of the essay talking about experiences as a child, as a teenager, before undergrad. You really want majority of this essay to focus on your experiences undergrad, possibly post-grad if you're in gap years or have been a working person for a while. That's what you want majority of this essay to focus on. It's fine if you want to describe how you've always been this type of individual, a very by-the-book person, really liking art things. Like, it's great if you can tie that in and that's something that you've been doing your entire life. That's awesome, but you don't need to spend a paragraph giving them some information about activities you did in elementary school and in high school that you continued in college. That doesn't really matter. What matters is what you did in undergrad. Like I said, those clinical experiences and everything, but what you took from them, how you acted them out, how you lived them out, how you discovered who you are and what kind of dentist you want to be. And think about it, this is a professional school that you're applying to. You're gonna be, if you're like me and went right from undergrad, so I'm only 22 right now, and some of my classmates are in their 30s, you're gonna be in a school with a bunch of adults, if you will. So you want to explain to them that you're grown up and you don't want to be focusing too much on your youth and your times developing into your current self. You want to really show them that you have grown into your truest, fullest adult self and let them know who that person is, because that's really what matters. That's who's going to be entering their dental class possibly. Mistake number 8 is that it just simply doesn't flow. You're jumping all around. It's not chronological. It just doesn't make sense. And that's something I see a lot, and that's a really easy thing to edit, honestly. I know sometimes you can get caught up in the theme, or you can get caught up on sticking volunteering together, clinical together, leadership together, but it makes the most sense to still go in some form of chronological order from if you are going to talk about when you're younger or early undergrad, whenever you start, to the end to where you are currently. It makes a lot more sense if you go in a chronological flow. Mistake number 9 sounds kind of crazy, but I've honestly read some personal statements and still wondered, okay, but why do you want to be a dentist? And that's the prompt of the personal statement. So mistake number 9 is not answering the prompt. Why do you want to be a dentist? Why do you want to be a physician's assistant? Why do you want to be a DO? Why do you want to be an MD? If you don't really explain that, what was the purpose of this essay? Like, maybe I got to know a little bit about you. Maybe I got to know a little bit about where you're from, like what makes you you, but why this specific profession? A lot of times people would be writing about how they want to improve healthcare in underserved populations, how they want to help out making people more happy and confident, but why this specific route to do that? What traits do you have, again, and what values do you have that relate to this profession? Kind of going along with this, that's when you don't want to be talking about a certain lifestyle you want to live, why it's a great job. You want to be looking at dentistry and highlighting dentistry in a way where you understand that this is a profession. This is a dental community, and those are the things that you really appreciate about it and that you want to be involved in. And also make sure you say how you're going to be involved in that. What vision do you have for yourself? What vision do you have for dentistry? And how are you going to make that happen? Finally, mistake number 10 is being way too worried about a theme and having that disrupt your whole essay. I know people say that you don't want to be basic, and even I said that you want to have something unique, some kind of theme tying together your whole personal statement, and yes, you do, but wasting a bunch of characters to set a kind of abstract theme or really reaching too far at the end of each paragraph to tie it back to a theme, that simply doesn't make sense for your personal statement. So a different way to go about it is maybe write the bare bones personal statement, read over it, see what kind of common things you notice, and come up with a theme after that, and in your next draft, make it more cohesive with said theme. I think could be a really great way to start. Personally, I kind of had the theme come to mind first, but I knew in my mind and in my heart that all of my experiences already tied into that theme. So if you don't have a theme right away, that's fine. I would really focus on the actual content and then go back and try to see what's some common thing happening here, or what's one big experience that I can kind of relate all of this back to. All right, that is the 10 mistakes that I have commonly seen while proofreading tons of personal statements in my day. I do want to throw it out there. Of course, I'm willing to read your personal statement, especially if you send it to me towards the end of April, before May, or towards the end of June, early July. That's when I'm on breaks from dental school, so I'll have more time to read personal statements. Happy to edit them. I do it for free. There's other services that you can pay, and I will link some of those pay for services below as well, because obviously I can only do so much and it might not be as timely or as thorough as something that you're paying. But again, I'm happy to give my feedback and help you all as much as I can. I know you're all going to do great on your journey. I hope this video was not discouraging. I just wanted to point some things out, that way you can critique your own personal statement and try to make it as strong as possible. I know you're all going to have great futures, and I'm so excited to see where all of you go. Thank you again so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.